Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like men have real emotions when it comes to dating. If you really think about it, let's just start with approaching. A man has to approach a woman. Now, don't get me wrong, some women approach men. And when I say approach, all she had to do was just get dressed and show up. But the guy, he thought about the approach and how to approach her. He thought about where to take her. And then when he takes her there, he has to pay. Some guys spend their last dollar trying to impress a woman, which I feel is utterly ridiculous and foolish. But I was just wondering, like, do men have real emotions? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Travis, and welcome to the IPH Theory. Also, I am one half of the Cultural Discussions. Please like, follow, and subscribe to both entertainment channels on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, today I just want to talk about emotions. In a way, the E in emotion stands for energy, and motion is movement. So I want to talk about emotions, but I want to talk about energy as well. And ladies and gentlemen, it has to do with men and women. Has something to do with a little bit of dating and having genuine and true and authentic and organic feelings and emotions. And some of you all might disagree with me whenever I say this, but ladies and gentlemen, I feel like men have real emotions when it comes to dating. If you really think about it, let's just start with approaching. A man has to approach a woman. Now, don't get me wrong, some women approach men. And when I say approach, I'm not necessarily meaning that she asks for his phone number or things like that, but she might give him a compliment. She might start a conversation, but for the most part, that's what the man does. He has to approach. So if he's approaching, he has the first genuine set of interest. I'm not saying that she's not interested in him, but what if she hasn't even sent him any choosing signals? And when I say choosing signals, I mean she hasn't shown any interest. She hasn't made eye contact with him. She hasn't looked his way. She's never conversated with him. She doesn't know his name. But as a man, we have that interest first. Men are visual. So will we notice her beauty, her beautiful skin or her skin tone, her beautiful hair, her beautiful face? Yes. But the genuine part comes from he has to submit himself to her. I want to approach you. I want to make sure you're comfortable. I don't want to approach you in a threatening way. Men tend to be bigger than women. You know, let's just say he approaches her and he actually gets the number. And there's so much that needs to happen with men and women in dating and a relationship that it's in its initial starting stage or stages. He has to approach. He has to be selfless. If he wants to take her out on a date, it's like, okay, well, what does she like to eat? What does she like to do? Where does she want to go? It's like when a man is dating, his emotions are involved, his feelings are involved, his finances are involved, his time is involved. With her, her time is involved. She doesn't have to spend money. She doesn't have to approach. She can drive if she wants to, but she doesn't have to because he can pick her up, you know? And I just feel like men come from a more genuine side when it comes to dating. When it comes to dating, everything that he comes with is involved. She just has to get dressed and present herself. Now, I'm not saying that she doesn't like him. I'm not saying that what she does doesn't take any effort. Of course, she has to get cute. She has to get pretty. She has to do her hair, her nails, and all of that. And that's if she likes you or is attracted to you. But at the same time, that could be her fifth date that week or her fifth date that month. All she had to do was just get dressed and show up. But the guy, he thought about the approach and how to approach her. He thought about where to take her. And then when he takes her there, he has to pay. Some guys spend their last dollar trying to impress a woman, which I feel is utterly ridiculous and foolish. But I was just wondering, like, do men have real emotions? You know, like, do men have real, genuine feelings? Do they like from a genuine perspective? He's not asking what she does. He's not asking about her credit score or what degrees she has. You know, literally a man wants to know, okay, is she pretty? Is she attractive? Okay, we'll go to the next step. But, you know, us men, we have many steps that we have to pass. Are we attractive to her? You know, what do we do for a living? How much money do we have? What about our potential, our future? What are you working on? You know, men don't even think about all of that. I'm not saying that the thought doesn't come to their mind, but they're not judging her based off of what she's done in her past or where she's going. Now, the past does matter. I am a strong believer of your past matters. I'm not going to ask you your body count or nothing like that because it's none of my business and you're going to lie anyway. But when it comes to finances and careers and business opportunities, it's like men have to pass the resource test. But the genuine man, he can literally be taking a bum out to eat who is homeless and living out of her car. He might not know that she's living out of her car, but even if she finds out, even if he finds out that she's living out of her car, he might not even judge her too hard because a lot of men are genuine. If he likes a woman who's living out of her car, he will open up his space to her. But would a woman date a guy that's living out of his car? I'm not saying it's never happened before. There are women who are down to stick it out with you throughout the struggle until you come up. But for the most part, you know, men, we come from a real genuine perspective. You know, we don't care what you do. We do care what you do, but you know, we're not judging you the way that you judge us. So, I mean, what do you all think? Do men have real emotions? Do they have real feelings? Do they love for real? You know, a man might be trying to take a woman out, and that might be his first date in 6 months. It might be his first date in a year or two. This might be her fourth date this week. And she's just trying to see who's going to take her to the better place or who has the better car or who has the better clothes. Us men, we just want to get to know you. We just want a genuine vibe from you. So do men have real emotions? Some people say yes, some people say no. What do you all think? Anyways, I'm Travis. Welcome to the IPH Theory. We are here to start conversations. We are here to have logical and rational conversations. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Welcome to the IPH Theory. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And I have plenty videos and plenty shorts for you all to be entertained with. Have a beautiful day.